In this chapter, we will be discussing digestive system. Part 1 of the lecture has specific learning outcomes which needs to be achieved after listening to this lecture. The function of digestive system is to break down foods into smaller particles that can be absorbed through cell membranes in digestive system. There are two types of digestion: mechanical digestion, such as chewing food, and chemical digestion, which is breakdown of foods using enzymes. The digestive system consists of two parts: alimentary canal, which is a long tube starting from the mouth all the way to rectum and anus, and the second part is a set of organs such as pancreas. They're not part of digestive tract. However, their secretion is essential in the process of digestion. This slide demonstrates organs of the digestive system. Largely speaking, we can divide the organs of digestive system into two parts. First, alimentary canal, which extends from mouth all the way to the anus. The organs include in this canal or in this tract are mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. The second part of the digestive system is accessory organs, which release secretions into the alimentary canal that help digest food. The organs which are considered accessory organs include salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. So as said earlier, alimentary canal or digestive tract is a long tube starting from the mouth all the way to the rectum and anus. So as the food passes through this alimentary canal, it goes through the process of digestion. Before discussing the details of digestion process, it's important to understand the layers of the alimentary canal. The wall of alimentary canal is made of 4 layers, from inside to outside, and these include mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. Mucosa is composed of epithelium, and this epithelium in certain parts of the digestive tract extend into lumen, creating specific structures such as villi, and the purpose of villi is to increase surface areas. Mucosa also contain many glands which secretes mucus and enzymes to break down food. The overall purpose of mucosa is protection, secretion, and absorption of nutrients. The second layer, which is called submucosa, this layer is immediately beneath mucosa. This layer is made of connective tissue. In this layer, you can find blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerves. The function of submucosa is nourishment of mucosa and also carrying absorbed nutrients away. The third layer is called muscularis, and there are 2 layers of muscle. There's an inner circular muscle and there's an outer longitudinal layer of muscle. The function of muscularis is movement of food through canal, which includes mixing the food and propelling food, which is also called peristalsis. And finally, the outer layer is called serosa, which is also made of connective tissue. The function of this layer is to attach alimentary canal to the surrounding organs and holds it in its place. There are 2 types of movements in the tube of alimentary canal. These movements are mixing movement and propelling movement. Mixing movements, which is a type of mechanical digestion, help the food mix with digestive juices and mucus. This type of movement is due to rhythmic contraction of circular muscle layer. The second type of movement, which is called propelling movement, also called peristalsis, this is accomplished by movement of longitudinal muscle layer. This movement helps the food passes from one part of the digestive system to another part of the digestive system. The first part of the digestive system is mouth. The terms oral cavity, also in some books you will see buccal cavity, refers to the mouth. The mouth is adapted to receive food and start mechanical and chemical digestion by chewing the food and mixing the food with saliva. The mouth is composed of two chambers: oral cavity, which is a chamber that extends from teeth or gums all the way to the back, called pharynx, and vestibule, which is a narrow space between teeth, cheeks, and lips. The mouth is surrounded by cheeks, lips, tongue, and palate. Cheeks form the lateral walls of mouth. Lips surrounds the opening of mouth. Lips are important in monitoring food temperature. Tongue is a muscular organ which makes up the floor of mouth. It's important in mixing food, which is part of mechanical digestion, and also important in swallowing food. Tongue contains many bumps called papillae, which houses taste buds. And finally, a palate, which makes up the roof of mouth. Anterior portion of palate is called hard palate because it's made of bone, and the posterior portion is called soft palate, which is made of smooth muscle. There's a median extension of soft palate called uvula, and the function of uvula is to prevent entry of food into nasal cavity. And finally, there are a collection of lymphatic tissues called tonsils. There are different types of them. So for example, the one that's associated with palate is called palatine tonsils. The one which are located in the back of the pharynx called pharyngeal tonsils. This is a sagittal section of the mouth. We are looking at the structures from the lateral view. First of all, you can see oral cavity, which is located between tongue and palate. The anterior part of palate is the hard palate, and posteriorly you have the soft palate. There are also a collection of lymphatic tissues called tonsils. In this slide you can see a pharyngeal tonsil and palatine tonsil. There are two sets of dentitions or teeth. You have deciduous teeth. There are 20 of them. They start to appear at age 6 to 32 months, and they start to disappear between age 6 to 12 years. And then there are permanent or secondary teeth. There are 32 of them. They start to appear at the age of 6 all the way to the adulthood. The function of teeth is to break down food into smaller particles. This is a primary example of mechanical digestion. There are 4 types of teeth with different functions. The front teeth are called incisors. Their function is to break food into bite-sized pieces. Then we have canine, also called cuspids. The function of cuspid is to grasp and tear food. Then we have premolars, also called bicuspid, and molars. Their function is to grind food into even smaller particles. Teeth are located in alveolar processes of maxilla and mandible. The visible part of a tooth is called crown, and then root is the area below gum. Crown is covered by a layer called enamel. Enamel layer has calcium salts, and it's the hardest substance in our body. And then the bulk of the tooth is made by dentine. There's also a cavity called pulp, and in the pulp we have blood vessels and nerve. The structures which hold a tooth in its place are cementum and periodontal ligament. Salivary glands secrete saliva, and saliva binds food together and begin chemical digestion of polysaccharide by the enzyme called salivary amylase. Salivary gland is made of 2 types of cells: mucus cells, which secrete mucus, and serous cell, which produce a watery substance containing the enzyme salivary amylase. The overall function of saliva is to provide lubrication, bind food together, and also begin chemical digestion of carbohydrate. There are three major salivary glands. Parotid gland is the largest and lies over masseter. Submandibular gland is located in the floor of mouth and more on the lateral side. And finally, sublingual gland, which is also located in the floor of mouth but more on the medial side.